Good morning, everybody. Will Travel here. Today we are in Tucson, Arizona, and we are going to head up into the eastern part of Saguaro National Park and hike around and see what there is to see. And then maybe later we might head into town and check out Arizona State University. But yeah, it should be a good time. This part of the park, there's actually two parts of the park, parts of Saguaro National Park. So the west side is a little bit more dense, and there's a lot more of the big saguaros, and that's also where the Sonoran Desert Museum is, which we'll be going to tomorrow. But the east side is also something that you can't miss, apparently, because it has some gorgeous views, and it's very rocky and a lot bigger, so we're excited to check it out. Come along with us. So we've arrived at the national park, and we're doing the scenic drive to start, which is an 8-mile loop that goes through the eastern part of the park, and you can see all the different types of cacti they have here. And we've stopped at this overlook called the Sonoran Desert Overlook, where there's just hundreds of cactuses behind me of all different types. This is just really, really beautiful. Some of the smaller cacti are in this beautiful purple color like you see right here. And then we've got the green. Wow. So one of the things that's interesting about this park that this sign says behind me is that it's actually really integrated into the city of Tucson and Pima County. So if you see behind me, there are houses, and this is part of a low density development, and it says it's actually good for the park because it creates a buffer when they have these low density developments between the higher density developments and neighborhoods of Tucson, so that the desert is more protected in this part of the national park, so we can have the saguaros, which is pretty cool. But it does say that the Tucson area is growing, so that they're going to need to keep these low density developments if they don't want to dry out the desert and lose all this wildlife. So that's kind of cool. So we've stopped at the Loma Verde Trail on the scenic drive, and we're going to hike 0.6 miles in to where they have an old mine and check that out. But along the way there's lots of beautiful cacti and things to see as well. This saguaro just dwarfs me. Here's the mine site. Let's go check it out. So it's just got these big mounds here where they dug up. Right here in the middle of the saguaros. And it goes way further over that way as well. Neat. Another stop here on the scenic trail. It's a little more rugged over here. Yeah, this park is really, really beautiful. Lots of fun stuff to climb around on for sure. Gonna head up there. That looks like a good perch. All right, yeah, this is pretty cool. Total 360. Wow. Look at that. So many cactus. It's actually way, way off in the distance over there. You can see downtown Tucson. But yeah, this is a gorgeous view. We got the mountains, the backdrop to the park. Awesome. It's really neat because this is the only section right here that we've seen these huge rocks. The rest of it's pretty flat, but right here they've got these big rocks right at the base of these little mountains here. So now we've left the main part of the eastern section of the park and drove south and re-entered the park. And this area is supposed to have some really pretty trails and some great views, so we're gonna go check it out. We're gonna walk about 2 miles and see what we see, and then we'll call it a day. This whole mountainside behind me is just covered in saguaros. Wow. This is a gorgeous national park. Great view up here. Way off in the distance there's an Air Force base, but yeah, just gorgeous. So now we're hiking back down and we're gonna head back to the van and drive into town. We basically run out of groceries from when we first stocked up when we left Charlottesville in Virginia, so we've made it like almost 2 weeks, but we need to refill, so we're gonna go to Costco and then make some dinner. Good morning, everybody. Today we are at the west section of Saguaro National Park, but first we are gonna go to the Sonoran Desert Museum, which is supposed to be really great. So I'm not gonna be able to film in there, but I'll make sure to give you guys the rundown and take some pictures. And then we will go on to the rest of the park and maybe do some hiking around, some scenic drives, see what there is to do. Alright, so we just finished up at the Sonoran Desert Museum, and wow, that is a really, really awesome museum. You can easily spend 5 hours there. We were in there for about 4, but yeah, it's definitely something you need a whole half day to do. There's just so much, all sorts of animals. They got javelinas, wolves, all types of fish, reptiles. It's really more of a zoo than a museum, but it's a huge grounds and there's lots to see. They got stingrays, stuff like that, and it just gives you a really cool idea of the wildlife that's around Saguaro National Park, and you can see it all there without really having to like look out in the park and go around for days trying to find these things. So it's cool to see all the wildlife in one place. You can see all the different types of rattlesnakes without having to get too close to them, which is also pretty cool. But yeah, it's definitely a really, really awesome museum that I would totally recommend. Now we are back in the park, but this time we are on the west side, which is the more visited side, the more densely populated with tourists. But we're gonna do another scenic drive. This one's called the Bajada Loop, and it has a couple short, like less than a mile trails to go to some different things, so we might try some of those and see what there is to see. But it is already 3 p.m. so we don't have a whole lot of time before the sun sets. Alright, so we're at our first stop, the Valley View Overlook Trail. And already in this park you can tell that the saguaros are a lot more dense. There's way more of them closer together here than in the east side of the park. So I can see why more people want to come to this side, because you'll see a lot more saguaros. But the place we went to yesterday was pretty cool as well. We have reached the Valley View and it is very, very windy, but behind me there are just thousands of saguaros down in that valley everywhere. It's just gorgeous from up here. Alright, we're at our second and I think last stop of the day, which is the Signal Hill Petroglyphs. So just off the loop here, off the road, there's a about 0.3 mile trail, and then you can see the petroglyphs, which are these ancient writings that are on the rocks. So we got to go check those out. Alright, so we've arrived at the petroglyph site, and you can see it right in front of me on that rock. There's that big symbol right there. But over here, you can see it a little better with the light. We also have some animals, it looks like, which is pretty neat, and then some more recent graffiti behind it. But yeah, this is pretty cool. All right, so that's it for Saguaro National Park. I think we're gonna start heading back to the campsite, but we gotta get gas, and we might drive around a little bit, drive around Tucson. But yeah, I think that's the end of this video. Tomorrow we'll be headed to Phoenix, where we're just doing a quick overnight stop, and then we'll be heading onward, and I will reveal that on our next video. So make sure to like and subscribe. Bye-bye.